Glory to Jesus Christ. Happy feast day of birth of Theotokos, our Heavenly Mother. Just only a few days ago we started a new liturgical year, and today we are celebrating the very first feast day of the new liturgical year. It is a wonderful feast day because, we are celebrating the birth of our Heavenly Mother, but also because this feast day reminds us of so many spiritual things that can help us on our way to salvation. Today I would like to talk about one of those things, which is joy and suffering, because it is one of the main themes of today's feast day. And I want to focus on this theme today because when we pay a little bit of attention to the world around us and people who are around us who might not be Christians, we can feel that the world is actively refusing suffering. This kind of thinking has infiltrated our lives. We want the good. We want the joys of life. But when suffering comes our way, we don't know how to deal with it. We don't know how to deal with suffering. And we try to do everything in our power to get out of that suffering as quickly as we can, which can rob us of the true joy that comes from suffering and from accepting this. There is no joy without suffering, and no suffering without joy. Painless joy is sentimental and short-lived, very short-lived. And joyless pain is hopelessness and despair. Today's feast day is offering us an opportunity to look at the link between the joy and suffering, which is evident in our spiritual life. Look, Joachim and Anna, if you look at their life, suffered a lot. They could not conceive the child until the very old age. They suffered before beautiful joy came into their lives. Then Anna suffered before and while she was giving birth to Theotokos. Then joy entered their lives again with a little tiny baby. And for sure, many of us are parents. Suffering was there while they were still upbringing the Theotokos. And this sacrificial love of parents so they could see the joy of their offspring. Do you see the cycle? Why would we think that suffering is not part of our life? It is. It's part of it. We can't get rid of it. It is a crucial part of our life. Without suffering, there is no joy, no hope. So how do we approach suffering within our spiritual life? How do we accept it, and how do we correctly approach suffering so we have some kind of a good sense of it? One way how we can approach suffering in our spiritual life is to accept suffering as it was given to us from God. Saint Seraphim wrote a testament, or this kind of discussion between God and soul. And in this writing, it is repeated many times that all of the difficulties, all of the sufferings and pains that come into our life is from God. So we can learn how to rely on God, so we can trust God's providence within our life. It is a very difficult lesson to learn, but it will benefit us in our life with Christ, more than the words can ever describe it. If we accept suffering as something that is given to us from God for our purification, so we can become perfect in God's eyes, then we will see that through that suffering, joy enters our life. And it's pure joy that we experience very little of. And eventually that joy will become everlasting. So let's look at today's feast day with hope and joy, that with every suffering we experience in our earthly life, it is God given for our salvation, and joy will always follow. So let us not be anxious, but let us enter this mystery with joy. Most Holy Theotokos, save us.
Ave